Thank you for choosing our Patio Heat channel. I'm Steve. We provide tips and information to extend the enjoyment of your patio project. Our videos give you a knowledgeable overview prior to investing in your outdoor heating equipment. Whether you are a professional or owner builder, we provide specific details for optimum heat coverage for your application. Post a comment or question, or for developed visual designs, send your request into designs@patioheat.com. We're here to work with you. For over 30 years, patio heating is the bedrock of our business, expressing what works best. Now let's get heating. All right, so we have this residential application. Let's go first into the dimensions, overall dimensions that I have. So overall dimensions, you can see here, we have this at about 27 feet 3.5 inch from the outside edge to the outside edge. 14 feet 9.5 inches from this point to here. Now I have this at approximately 11 feet 8 inches to the top of this beam right here. 11 and 8 inches and a half. Sorry about that. And then I have the ceiling here at 13 foot. It's a slope ceiling, 13 foot 9. Now I'm not 100% certain of that information. I have a lot of the different elevations and things of that nature, but in any case it might be off a little bit, but this should be okay. You know, if I showed you some of the dimensions, you know, elevations, things of that nature, you know, you can see that it matches up pretty well. There's also a outdoor deck space over here, and I have that at 18 foot 4 by 20 foot 3, and a height here of, I think it's 10 foot 6.25. Now again, we might be a little bit off on as far as the height is concerned, but the main thing on this part here is this is an exposed side in a windy area. There is a door here. I think there's some windows over here. I didn't place all those because it's this application is actually taking a lot of information here. So I just want to really plan on the heating system itself. So first of all, let's turn this dimension off, and you can see here on this side we have a table, and over here we have a seating area, barbecue. There's 2 fans. The fan distances that I have, they had quoted the distance to be equal. So I took the distance from this point here to the beam coming across here, cut it in half, and I came up with a 6 foot 9.75, and then I placed that 6 foot 9.75 to the center point of the fan, and the same with this over here, 6 foot 9.75. 6 foot 9.75 over here. Not sure how far down they'll drop, but in any case, I just have them at the same elevation as the bottom of this beam right now, and that's about it for right now. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you what I think the client actually was asking for, was to place heaters on this backside wall here, because they didn't want to view the actual heaters themselves, you know, itself from this point of view. So they are wondering if this is going to be a good application, something like this, where you have the heaters, you know, placed on the wall, and then have it at I have these at a 30-degree tilt. Now I'm not sure exactly if this sconce light here, sorry about the, let me get out of there, if the sconce lights are exactly where I have them and how, you know, tall they're going to be, where they're actually going to be placed. But in any case, let's just say that we have these heaters. I have these, I believe, at, let's go ahead and look at the distances here real quick, from midpoint to midpoint. So from there to there, they're at 13 foot distances. Now typically I like to have them a little bit closer. The reason why is because I like to have overlapping rays. However, the seating positions are, you know, further away from each other, so I wanted to make sure we're hitting the seating positions a little bit better. And in fact, you know, it probably would be better to even move this, you know, maybe an additional 12 inches away, and move this one here, maybe at 12 inches away. However, this is a windy area, so wind is going to be coming through this backside here. So let's just say the wind's coming from this direction around. You are going to feel the cold air on this side of your body, and the heat is only going to come out approximately 8 feet away from the point of mounting of the heater itself. So if you're further than 8 feet away, number one, you're going to feel that colder air penetrating the front of your body here. Over here, you're not going to really feel enough intensity of this heat ray to even make it comfortable. So this is not something I would highly recommend. I would probably, most cases say that it's better not to put a heater in there if you're not going to really feel the comfort of the heater itself. So over here you can see that at best maybe these two locations would be comfortable, and so yeah, this is something I probably would not do. Next, I'm going to go ahead and show where you might place some wall units. And what I have them at, I have them centered within this wall span from left to right here, and centered within this span here. I have them at approximately, I think it's 10 feet off the finished floor. 8 feet is most ideal, but I'm not 100% certain of what the height of this is. But let's just check what that true height is that I have it at. And we can see here we have it at 10 feet off the finished floor. And yeah, that would be the highest I would put a 6,000 watt unit if I could. You could go up to 12 feet off the finished floor. However, the intensity isn't going to be as nice, and you'd probably want more units if you're going to do something like that. The other thing too is when you have a wall mounted unit and you have it at an angle, then you need to make sure that you're maintaining a minimum of 12 inches of clearance above the ceiling. You can see I have the slope ceiling over here. The window section up here, I know that it's open somehow. I'm not 100% certain of what it really looks like. Is this really going to be there or not? I am not, an architect or a designer when it comes to structures. We simply, look at placing the heaters the best locations we can come up with. So there's those two units here, and then there's the third unit over here. I have this mounted on the ceiling. I have a clearance of 6 inches back here. I have it so that if you were to place the heater pointed straight down, even though this is mounted at an angle, let's just say you place the heater straight down, I brought it up approximately, I think, 15 degrees so that we are still penetrating down low here. Let's go ahead and look at that footprint of heat. Footprint of heat in this particular application, you can see, is much better than it would have been on that back wall there. Let's go ahead and look at what the visual concept would be as far as seeing the ray or seeing the heaters themselves. Now you're not going to see the ray. The infrared light wave is invisible to the human eye, so you're not physically going to see any orange ray that you are seeing in this video. But yeah, you could see this heater here, this heater over here, and if you're turning your head way over here, yes, you can see that one over there. But ideally, I'll tell you, most people, when they think about the heater itself being placed somewhere like this, they do come up with that concept of, I don't want to see that heater. But down the road, as time goes on, you don't focus your vision on something like this, nor a fan or something of that nature. You're going to look at the environment here, plants and trees, and maybe this is a hillside, something of that nature, but you're going to kind of lose that focus on the heater itself. So if you want to heat the area, you really want to put some heaters in the best location that you could, which in my opinion would be my second favorite application. Now, and again, these are all 6,000 watt units. They have two elements in them. You could either put a control that would allow it to be dimmed up and down as far as 10% to 100% on, and or you could use what they call a duplex switch, which allows you to take the heater and turn one element on or two elements on, depending on how much heat you want. But typically at 10 feet off the finished floor, 3,000 watts, that would be one element, isn't typically enough for this. So I would say that a control dimmer would be more ideal. However, you could always, simply just move the chair away from the heater if you were to be too warm or sit in a different location. So anyways, this would be, like I said, my second favorite. And let's go ahead and look at what would be probably my first option or my best option, which would require us to move the fans themselves. And that would be to have 3 units more, something like this, where we could move the fan itself to where either it's at the same elevation from this point here to the point of the heater down here. So that means the fan would have to be moved up at that same elevation, or you'd have to move the heater to the left, the fan to the left a little bit, so that you're getting that 18 inches of clearance below the heater itself. So here's your 18-inch clearance, and you can see right now at this particular spot, if I was to move that fan back down, then I would be penetrating that 18 inches of clearance. And you could have a fan that had steel blades that would be non-combustible, and that would be meeting the criteria as far as non-combustible materials. Yeah, it depends on how you want to do that. But in any case, I have these 3 units, and let's go ahead and look at the distance from center point here, and I have this in the center of the actual let's see if I can pull that up here. I have that in the center of the actual structure, and then let's see the center point here, and we have that 8 feet center to center, and the other one would be 8 foot center to center from here to here. Again, the fan would have to be moved over. I'm not going to place it in the exact spot at this point, but just note that you need to make sure we're maintaining the clearances, either by dropping the heaters, rising the fan, and or using a non-combustible fan blade itself. So let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat, and you can see here, even though that I have these in the center, it'd be nicer to actually move the heaters down. Like I said, ideally, the heaters should be around a 10-foot drop. However, having the nice overlapping rays makes it nicer, as well as placing them so that they have good overlapping rays. In any case, I hope I didn't state that wrong. Let's see if there's anything else here. That's pretty much about it. So that would be this location here, using either 3 in this dimension here, or possibly using the 3 in this way. And I think again, this particular way, this is the only cooler spot, compared to the other option. And also you could see that these are lower than the others. Oh, I want to go back here and just let you see what the fan or the heaters would look like from this perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the ray, and again, you'd have to really kind of look up all the time to see those heaters. Typically you're going to be standing around something like this looking out, and you're not going to really be seeing much in this particular fashion unless you're looking up into the ceiling itself. So alright, so that is this location here, the covered patio deck, covered patio area. And then we're going to come over here and look at this space over here. So This is a quite wide spot, and I went ahead and placed just 2 of the 6,000 watts. Again, these are the same CD 6024s that I showed just a minute ago. This particular unit here, I have centered, what I did was I centered the heater from here to here, and then felt like I really should push it to the left a little bit further, so I went 12.5 inches to the left, and then the same with this here. Centered the heater and then pushed it 12.5 inches to the right here, because of the fact that this is going to be the space that allows you to come in and out here, but you're probably not going to be occupying this space right here. So let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat, and you can see the footprint of heat again is going to come out about 8 feet to the most comfortable position. So if I was to draw, let's just say a line from this wall here and go 8 feet out, that's going to be about that far of a distance. So anybody that's sitting further away than that 8-foot section, you're not going to feel as comfortable. Now if you're right here at 8 foot with 2 of these units on, yeah, you're going to feel a little bit better. But again, going back to that whole issue about the wind, the wind is going to be from this portion of the patio, and the heat's going to be from the backside. So this isn't going to be the most preferred application on a windy day. Now it's on a non-windy day, it's going to be great if you're sitting here or sitting over here. But if you're sitting over here, or it's that windy day, it's not going to be ideal, other than the fact that these are electric heaters. Electric heaters are not affected by the wind speeds, and the only thing that's affected is your physical comfort, how much you can withstand the amount of cold air blowing against you. But the heater itself is 100% output when it comes to windy conditions. So just bear that in mind. And then I want to go ahead and just show one more possible option, and that would be to utilize something like this heater here, which is a Sunglow gas heater. This Sunglow gas heater could be mounted, it would be a portable unit. I don't have the portable unit designed here, but the portable unit would fit about this height with the ground itself, or the finished floor. And you could, basically it has a base here on a post, and that base could be moved left to right wherever you want it. And then you would have a flexible gas line up to 12 feet long that would be into a quick connect type of fitting. I'm not sure if I have one to show here, but the quick connect fitting, you just snap the fitting in. See if I can find it here. Give me just one more minute here. Here we go. So this is say that we have a gas line, placed. We'll place it over here for right now, up against this wall somehow. And I want you to see a little bit closer that there's a shutoff valve. This should probably be about 18 inches off the finished floor, 16 inches. I don't remember the exact number on the gas lines, but in any case, you have a quick connect fitting where you just plug it into this fitting here. The knob here turns the valve on and off, and also allows for the quick connect to open and close. But that would be something where you could either put that somewhere here, or maybe over here, or maybe even somewhere over here where you can have it closer to the heater itself. Now This is a gas heater, so the gases on a windy day are going to be blowing around and are not going to produce as much heat as the electric heaters will on a windy day. But this particular heater here puts out about 50,000 BTUs, and it's got a 7-foot radius or 14-foot diameter of heat that comes out of the heater itself. And these are about 20,600 BTUs. So this intensity is much hotter than these units themselves. So something just to think about. But yeah, this would be a nice application. And let's just say that you possibly didn't want these heaters at all, and maybe go with additional units like this, where you could just move them as you see fit based on whatever your seating arrangement is. But yeah, you can really keep warm areas up with something like these particular units. They're called Sunglows, and made here in the US. Very nice units. They last a long time. I have customers that have had these for close to 30 years, some of them, and as long as you keep them maintained, they should operate just fine, no problem. So all right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review your plan, send your information into designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve, and please tap that like button if you find this video useful. We don't advertise, we're not monetized. YouTube will not support us unless we get our referrals from you. Thank you very much. Have an excellent day.